Welcome to New Vision's Echo Tip episode number 27. Hello, I'm David Ward, an assistive technology instructor for New Vision, based here in Southwest Virginia in the Roanoke Valley. Today's Amazon Echo Tip, we're going to be zeroing in on a unique feature that was only added in the last year or so, and that's the ability to place phone calls with your Amazon Echo. So that's right, you could place phone calls with your Amazon Echo. So this is a very unique and potentially powerful speakerphone-like technology, where you're out like a speakerphone on a phone. So it's kind of neat, or a call conferencing kind of style thing. All right, now before I go into discussing how you turn the feature on and some of the features, I need you to probably press that microphone button on your Amazon Echo. That way when I say the A-lady name, she won't respond at home. It'll only be the one here in the studio, if we end up doing some demos there. But most importantly, Sears at home isn't trying to interpolate what I'm trying to say. So if you press that button, it's got a microphone with a slash through it, and it'll turn the ring red on the top of the unit, and it will make a thump sound, kind of like this. All right? So that's what we want to hear. All right, so press that. Okay, now we'll start discussing the phone calling feature. Now, the phone calling feature can only be enabled if you have the Alexa app installed on a smartphone. So let me repeat that. At present, you can only enable the phone calling feature if you have the Alexa app installed on a smartphone. Now, I have had some people that have family members. Maybe they don't have a smartphone, but they do have a family member that has a smartphone, maybe their daughter or son, adult son or daughter, and they help them out by enabling that feature. Now, there is a downside to doing that because the whole thing hinges on imitating your phone. In other words, when you place a phone call from your Echo to a landline or a cell phone or whatever, it will look like the caller ID. It will look like the phone number from whatever smartphone you've enabled it from. So that could be a downside. You might not, your family member might want to it look like you're calling from their phone number all the time. That might be a downside. But if you have a smartphone yourself and you have the Alexa app installed, it will be able to mimic your phone number. So that's kind of nice. And there is a process to go through in order to do that. And I should mention, you have to have that app on your smartphone. You cannot use the website alexa.amazon.com to enable that, at least not at present. You might be able to in a future time. Other limitations I should mention. You can't call 911 when this feature is enabled, and not at least only with the app. You could have an additional piece of equipment that Amazon sells called the Amazon Connect. I think it roughly runs about $35. And it plugs into a landline wall jack. So say you have a landline at home with, a wall jack. You could plug this little device in, and then you can place phone calls as if you're from your landline. And obviously then call 911 or something like that. And additionally, you could receive calls. When you're using the the Amazon Echo with, and it's enabled only by the app, and you don't have this piece of equipment, you will not receive phone calls. You only can place calls, as if it's coming from your cell phone. But you're not using any of your minutes or anything like that. It's all VoIP or voice over IP going through the internet. So it's not actually using any of your minutes in that sense. So you can place calls but not receive calls. But if you had this extra piece of equipment at home, the Amazon Connect, you could receive calls on that landline or place calls, and you could even place a call to 911, just like you could with any phone plugged into that wall jack. Okay. Additionally, if you enable this feature using your Amazon, your Alexa app on your smartphone, it will ask to synchronize with your contacts on your phone. Now, don't let that worry you. It actually gives you some capacity. Namely, say you have John Doe in your contacts and his number is yada, yada, yada. It will know, your Echo will know who John Doe is from then on. And when you say his name, you could say, call John Doe. Alexa, call John Doe. And it will know his number. So that's pretty powerful as well. Additionally, and this is just an extra wrinkle, if you have the Alexa app installed on your Android phone, you can you can send text messages. I haven't tried that yet, but if you have the Android app, you can configure it so you can do text messages as well through your Amazon Echo. All right, so this is kind of a complex feature. I will mention, this is interesting. I've had students that have done this. Say you're a husband and wife. You have both smartphones, one for you and one for her, or the like, and you both have your respective smartphones. If you're a couple, you can link both of those to your Echo, and she can mimic both of you. But she will prompt you for who she's going to be calling from. And I'm probably not explaining that very well. So here, let me break it down. Let's say you have John Doe and his wife Jane Doe. They both have the app installed on their smartphones. They both have the calling feature enabled. If you were to do that, when you walked over to your Echo, you would say, Alexa, call my dad, right? And it would say, sure. Who are you calling as? Are you calling as John Doe or are you calling as Jane Doe? And you would say, well, I'm calling as John Doe. Then it would place the phone call, and then when your dad picked up the phone, it would look like that you're calling from your cell phone. Respectfully, on the other hand, if you were Jane Doe, you'd say, oh, I'm calling as Jane Doe, and it would look like it's coming from Jane Doe's phone. So that is a unique capacity that the Echo also presents. So that was a lot of information. Feel free to Google that and burrow into those settings some more. And they're adding new features all the time, like I said, text messaging and the like. But right now it's only available on Android phones if you've enabled that feature using the Alexa app. Well, that'll close out this episode. Next time we're going to be talking about Echo-to-Echo calling. That is not necessarily calling a phone number, but just calling somebody else with an Amazon Echo. Until then, it's time to turn your microphone back on your Amazon Echo. And I'm David Ward, signing off for New Vision, and we thank you for listening. This episode is brought to you by New Vision, in connection with a grant from the Foundation for the Roanoke Valley, and with the kind use of WVTF Studios. For the newest information and content about what New Vision is doing, please see the website newvision, ROA, the first three letters of Roanoke, .org. That's .org. New Vision is a nonprofit that provides information services and assistive technology training to the visually impaired living in Southwest Virginia. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision.